What is going on, everybody, and welcome to Johnny K Picks. And in this video, I'll be going over my full card picks and predictions, along with my bet that I have so far for UFC Vegas 64, Rodriguez versus Lemos. Now, do me a big favor. Please hit the like button for me. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, or if you just haven't yet. And while you're at it, click on those notifications so you don't miss out on any of my new videos or live streams that come out throughout the week. Now, let's go over the fun and greatness that we saw last night in UFC Vegas 63. Now, here we go. Let me bring that up real quick. So, Qatar versus Allen. Here we go. So, let's go down to number one, Christian Rodriguez versus Joshua Weems. I had Rodriguez here. He looked very good. He kind of looked like he was playing with Weems a little bit at times. Didn't look like he was too flustered, had good composure in there. I just don't think Joshua Weems is ready for the UFC. I think Christian Rodriguez is really good. He showed it there. He has good striking, good grappling, good submissions, and he got him out of there quick with the Indicon choke. So good win for him. Cody Durden versus Carlos Mota. I know Mota was coming in this fight. A lot of hype on him in the LFA. And yeah, he looked good too, but you could tell he had a glaring weakness, and that was his wrestling and takedown defense. And Cody Durden exploited it, looked very good, and pretty much won 30-27 pretty easily. Now the good stuff. Chase Hooper and Steve Garcia. I had a bet on Chase Hooper in a parlay. Also had him to win inside the distance, and he looked like he must have thought he was the next Max Holloway out there, because he forgot what he's good at, and that's grappling. He didn't even try for one takedown until they got rocked. And then after it got rocked about 3 or 4 times on the feet, and pretty much called it. I mean, he looked really bad. It was a bad bet. I'll admit it. I thought he was going to do what he normally does, and that's grapple. He did not do that at all. And what are you going to do? Live and learn. I do not think Garcia is that great of a fighter. So good win from him, though. And we'll see what happens with Chase. I might have to auto fade him. I don't know anymore. We'll see. Young Park and Joseph Holmes. I liked Park here. I had Park in a parlay. Holmes looked good in the first round, pretty decent. And after that, it looked like he gassed and just did not want to wrestle with Park. And Park took advantage of it and got the submission. Kind of surprised by that. I thought this fight would definitely go over 2.5 rounds or go to decision. But Park did it. Got the rear naked choke in the second. Pretty much just beat the crap out of Holmes on the ground. So good win for Park. He's very solid. And then we got DeLima versus Orlovsky. DeLima just went in there guns blazing, got him out of there in the first round. Not really much you can say. I guess that's the way to beat Orlovsky at this time in his career, is just blitz him, make sure he just make him go on the ground, try to get a submission, and that's how you do it. That's the last 2 times he lost is the same exact way. Good win for DeLima, though. Roman Dolidze versus Phil Hawes. Crazy fight. Roman's just a monster, dude. Just crazy monster. He's very strong for the division. He probably can be a light heavyweight. And once it went to the ground and Roman used his grappling and pretty much blew out, I don't want to say, maybe he blew out Hawes' knee. I don't know exactly what happened, but you could tell something was wrong when he let go and he was kind of gimping. And Roman got the knockout. It was a brutal knockout, too. So good win for Roman. He's just a dangerous dude, man. I had Roman. I picked him. I did a baby bloods parlay of the week with Hawes in it, though, and it ended up losing, which that's okay. But I wasn't going to bet Dolidze, I'll be honest. But I picked him to win first round knockout, and that's how he won. Controversy of the night. Khalil Roundtree versus Jacoby. I had Jacoby winning that easy 29-28. I know people are going to say damage is king, damage is number one, all that good stuff. But the damage didn't really start happening on Khalil's end until the 3rd round, and it was showing on Jacoby's face in the 3rd round. Jacoby was killing his leg all fight. And I know you don't really see it. I know it's not like what you want to see from fights, but Jacoby was outstriking him the first 2 rounds and clearly won the first 2 rounds. And Roundtree, I'll give him the 3rd round because he did more damage. But I think that was a bad decision. I think Jacoby won that pretty clearly, 29-28. I had a bet on Jacoby in the parlay, didn't hit it, unfortunately. But you can't do anything about that. that's just the judges mess up or whatever. And you bet Jacoby, I'm sorry. I'm in the same boat as you, man. Tresean Gore versus Josh Fremd, probably one of the lowest fight IQs I've seen from Josh Fremd, trying to shoot for takedowns and leaving his big neck out there. And Tresean Gore just holding on to his neck as hard as he could and got the submission. Fremd was actually doing really good on the feet. I don't know why he was trying to go for takedowns. He would like rock him and then shoot for a takedown every time. Just keep it on the feet, man. You would have got the knockout. I don't think Tresean Gore is UFC caliber. Clearly, Fremd isn't either. Good win for Gore. I'm not going to take anything away from him. But I think I don't think he's going to do that well in this next fight. But we'll see who. Maybe it's another regional fighter. Maybe he'll do good. Who knows? Waldo versus Jared Vanderaa. Another fun, awesome fight. It was battle of the leg kick versus jab. And the jab won. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Jared, again, didn't go for any takedowns. He had a clear path to victory and didn't do it. And Waldo won. That's just how it goes. And I said it before on my predictions video. If Jared Vanderaa would use his grappling and use a little bit of his fight IQ, which he has zero of, he could win fights in the UFC. He just doesn't do it. I don't know why. It's very frustrating. So I just can't pick Jared until he shows me that he can actually have a fight IQ. Max Griffin versus Tim Means, a very good fight. I thought Max won. I don't know why I went to split. It was pretty clear, 29-28 or even 30-27, whatever you want to do. And Max Griffin looked very good in the first round. Rocked Tim Means, almost got him out of there. And then I guess he might have hurt his hand in the second round or something like that. Max did, so maybe that's why he went more towards his wrestling. But I thought he won pretty clearly. 28-28 or 29-28 or 30-27, whichever you want to say too. And the main event, again, we get duped out of another main event, which I believe it's the third or fourth of the year. And I had Cater in a bet money line. I had this fight to go to the third round just to start in the third round. Lost both of those bets. So not the greatest of nights for me. Good win for Allen. I mean, he looked good in the first round. I'll give him that. And I don't know what Cater was doing with that jumping kick. He's not a jumping kick kind of guy. And he just blew it out after landing on it. So, hey, it happens. I'm not going to fault him too much for it, but it is what it is. I ended up going 6-5 on my picks right up here. And for my bets, I'll go over it real quick. I lost 6 units, not the greatest of looks, but like I said, I had Cater 1.5 units I lost. I had Cater fight to go the round 3. And if those would have happened, it would have been a pretty easy, solid night. Maybe got a little bit of money here and there. Jacoby, I had in a bet, lost that bet. Like I said, the only bad bets I'll say that I had were the Hooper bets. And after that, everything else I thought was pretty good, but just unfortunate with the Jacoby decision and the Cater injury. So it is what it is. It's just a bad night. And only can go up from here, I guess. So we'll jump right into UFC Vegas 64, Rodriguez versus Lemos. And let me get my notes up here, and let's go to town here. First fight we have is Ramona Pascual versus Tamires Vidal. And it's Pascual 6-4, 34 years old, 5'7", with a 66-inch reach. And Vidal is 6-1, 24 years old, 5'5", not sure her reach. So Pascual, we all know she's not the greatest of fighters. She's very hittable. She's kind of low volume, but she does have decent striking. She has good power and okay wrestling and okay takedowns when she uses it. But she kind of just fades a little bit as the fight goes on. And I don't know. It's just hard for me to see her winning, I guess, if you want to say. But then again, she's fighting someone who's making her UFC debut. Not the greatest of fighters again. She's more so a grappler, not the greatest of strikers. Her striking is very lackluster, if you want to say. She's more of the grappler, wrestler type. So this is a weird fight. I'm going to give Pascual the edge on the feet for sure. That's not saying too much. Maybe the wrestling advantage, but Vidal she's very good off her back and very good when she's on top too. So if Pascual could stuff the takedowns and keep this fight standing, I think she'll be able to win a very slow, boring decision. But Vidal is going to be dangerous for a finish, especially a submission. So I'm going to go with Pascual here. I just think she's the more well-rounded fighter, if you want to say. I'm not going to bet this fight. I know she's the underdog at plus 135 right now or so. I just can't trust Vidal in her UFC debut. And she did lose. She didn't really lose to Perez, but she was on her way to losing, and Perez was dominating her, and Perez got those illegal knees and made her lose. I think that was in her two fights ago, Aline Perez. So we saw her fight recently too. So with my pick, I'm going to go with Pascual here. Not very confident. I'm going to say by decision. And yeah, we'll go from there. That's the opening fight of the night. So we'll go to the next fight here. We got Jake Hadley versus Carlos Candelario. Hadley is 8-1, 26 years old, 5'7", with a 68-inch reach. And Candelario is 8-2, 31 years old, 5'8", with a 68-inch reach. So Hadley is very well-rounded. He has very good technical striking, very good grappling and submissions. He doesn't really have the greatest takedown defense. Doesn't really have the greatest get-up game either, but in his last fight where he lost, which I'm kind of talking about, was against Nascimento. He's got very good grappling, and he just smothers his opponent. So I don't want to give Hadley a pass by any means, but I think he could have worked himself up. Hadley seemed like he wanted to be off his back for some reason, more so, and I thought he should have worked his way up to get back on the feet, but he didn't. So, but I know he's better than that, but that's what it is. Candelario is also very well-rounded. He's got solid striking and a solid ground game as well, but he's hittable on the feet, and he also doesn't have the greatest takedown defense either. So it'd be interesting to see who tries to go for takedowns here, but I like Hadley to get the job done. I think they're both kind of the same fighter. They're both well-rounded, but I'm going to give Hadley the edge in striking, and I do think he's the more dangerous fighter with submissions too. It might be a little bit close on the mat with that, but I do like Hadley's submissions more so. So with my pick here, give me Hadley. I'm going to say by decision, and I wouldn't be surprised if Hadley gets maybe like a first round submission if he gets the takedown and maybe gets like an arm bar or something like that, or a rear naked choke. But I'm going to say by decision. Candelario is pretty tough, and I don't think he's been finished. Yeah, in his last two fights that he lost, they were both by decision. So he's pretty tough. I think he'll be able to survive. So, like I said, Hadley by decision. We'll see what happens there. I like Hadley, though. Next fight we got is Johnny Munoz Jr. versus Ludovic Sholinian. Munoz is 11-2, 29 years old, 5'9", with a 71-inch reach. And Sholinian is 9-2-1, 32 years old, 5'10", with a 71-inch reach. So Munoz is also a very solid fighter. He's got very good striking. He's got very good grappling as well. He's a little low volume on the feet at times, but he's got some decent power. And like I said, very good submissions and grappling. Ludovic is your traditional wrestler, grappler, if you want to say. Doesn't have the greatest striking on the feet. He definitely wants to get this fight to the mat. He goes for takedown after takedown after takedown. He's very durable. This is an interesting fight, though, because Munoz, I would give him the edge pretty much on the feet for sure. Grappling with submissions, I would give him the edge, but the wrestling, I'd probably give it to Ludovic. But both guys don't really have the greatest takedown defense either, so it's going to be one of those things who's going to shoot for takedowns first. I would probably guess Ludovic, but Munoz is pretty dangerous off his back too, so I think he's going to have to keep this fight standing if he wants to win this fight. I like Munoz to win, but it's more of a lean, and I think he's, like I said, better on the feet. I think he's going to be able to outstrike him for sure. I just think the only way Ludovic has a chance to win here is if he goes for takedowns and kind of is like a wet blanket for 3 rounds and just wins by decision. But give me Munoz here. I think he has more paths to victory, if you want to say. He can potentially get a submission. He can potentially get a knockout, maybe, and even outstrike him by decision. I think he can win in any facets. So Munoz by decision here. And yeah, I mean, I could see, like I said, I could see Ludovic winning a decision too, but I'm going to go with Munoz. I think he's more dangerous. Next fight is Jinyu Frey versus Polyana Viana. Frey is 11-7, 37 years old, 5'3", with a 65-inch reach. And Polyana is 12-5, 30 years old, 5'5", with a 67-inch reach. So Frey has very solid striking, very good grappling as well. She can be hittable at times, has good takedown defense, and I know she's getting up there at the age of 37, but she still has a good cardio. She doesn't tire out or anything. She's very strong too. And Polyana, very good grappling, very good submissions. Her striking is just okay, if you want to say. She definitely wants to get this fight to the mat and use her BJJ, but she doesn't have the greatest wrestling or takedowns either. So I think she's going to have a tough time getting this fight to the mat. And this is a close fight too. I can see it go either way, but I'm going to go with Frey here. I think she's the more well-rounded fighter. She's got very good grappling too, kind of underrated. I know she did get submitted by Kay Hansen, which is not the greatest look 2 years ago. But like I said, I think her grappling is good. I think her submission defense is pretty good. I don't know what happened in that fight. Maybe she had a brain fart or something like that. But I think she'll be able to keep this fight on the feet, though. I don't think Polyana's going to be able to take down Frey unless she pulls guard or something like that, or maybe Frey shoots in, which I don't think she will. And I think she'll be able to outstrike Polyana for most of the fight and win a pretty easy decision, maybe 29-28. Polyana is very live for a submission. That's pretty much how she wins. And if she doesn't get that submission, she usually loses by decision. Or if she doesn't get the submission, I'm sorry, she usually loses by decision. So give me Frey here as the slight underdog, I believe, at the moment. Even though it says -120 here, I think it's -105 or so. And I think she'll win by decision. Okay, next fight we got is Mariano Bautista versus Benito Lopez. If this would come up. So Bautista is 10-2, 29 years old, 5'9", with a 69-inch reach. And Lopez is 10-1, 28 years old, 5'10", with a 73-inch reach. So Bautista is a very high-pressure fighter. He likes to push forward. He's got very good cardio. He uses that as a weapon. He's very well-rounded. He's got good striking, good wrestling, good grappling as well. Good submissions too. So he's just like an all-around solid fighter. And I really like his pressure and his pace that he puts on his opponents. Lopez also likes to push forward. He's got good striking. He can be a little bit wild sometimes, but there's a red flag for me in this fight. And it is, he hasn't fought in over 3 years. So I can never back somebody who hasn't fought in 3 years unless they're just like a potential champion or used to be a champion. And I don't know. I like Mario a lot here. I think this is one of my locks of the night. I think he's going to be able to out cardio Benito. First round's might be fireworks because both guys are, like I said, they're both pretty dangerous in the first round. But I think Bautista survives or gets that early knockout in the first or submission, and just out cardios and out strikes Benito to either, it could be by decision, it could be by a club and sub, it can be by knockout. But I'm going to go with Bautista, and I'm going to say by maybe second or third round submission. I think this is a pretty much a no-brainer for me. So, okay, next fight we got is Miranda Maverick versus Shanna Young. Maverick is 10-4, 25 years old, 5'3", with a 65.5-inch reach. And Young is 8-4, 31 years old, 5'7", with a 65-inch reach. So this fight was supposed to happen a while ago, but I think Young pulled out because of a bad weight cut or something like that. And Maverick is a very well-rounded fighter. She's got good striking, good kicks, very good ground game, good wrestling and takedowns. She's strong, she's tough, whatever you want to say. She showed a killer instinct in her last fight, which I really do like to see from her. And I hope she does the same thing in this fight too, because I think she can. And I always like to bring this up whenever Maverick fights, but she beat Macy Barber. And it was probably one of the worst robberies of 2021. She clearly won the first 2 rounds, and even round 3 was very close, but I slightly gave that to Barber. So there's just no way that Maverick lost that fight. But Macy Barber, I know she's a young prospect too, so maybe who knows what happened. Maybe the UFC wanted to promote her more. But anyways, Shanna Young, though, she's got good striking, not the greatest takedown defense. Yeah, that's really about it. There's just not a lot for Shanna Young here. She's just mainly a striker, and this isn't a shocker by anyone, but I'm going to go with Maverick here to win. And I think she dominates this fight on the mat. On the feet, it might be a little bit closer, but I still like Maverick striking more. And if Maverick comes out and looks like she did against Mazo in her last fight, where she got that rear naked choke, I think she'll win this one pretty much the same way. I think she can get that takedown early, work her BJJ and grappling, and get a submission. And fun fact is both these fighters actually fought each other once before, about 3 years ago in Invicta. And guess who won that fight? No question. Random Maverick won that, and she won by first round submission. So I think that's going to be pretty much the same thing here. So with my pick, I'm going to say Maverick wins this one, and I'm going to say by submission. All right. Next one we got is Darrick Minner versus Sholinian Nuerdanbieke. Sorry, I'm going to butcher that name forever. So I'm just going to say Nuerdanbieke. Darrick Minner is 26-13, 32 years old, 5'7", with a 71-inch reach. And Nuerdanbieke is 37-10, 28 years old, 5'8", with a 69-inch reach. So this is a grappler versus grappler matchup here. Minner is a very good wrestler and grappler. He's got very good submissions. He's got good pressure. Not the greatest striker, but he's not awful either. And he can be hittable at times. Nuerdanbieke is a very good wrestler. Good takedowns. Not the greatest striker either, but he does have good power in his hands if he lands. Kind of low volume, though. This is a tough one because Minner is definitely the more dangerous fighter, I think. But he's more of a first round or bust guy, I think. And his cardio kind of fades as the fight goes on. Kind of has questionable fight IQ as well. And Nuerdanbieke showed pretty good fight IQ in his last fight. And to me, like I said, I think it just comes down to the first round. Can Minner get the finish in the first round or not? And if he can't, then I think Nuerdanbieke wins this fight. And I'm going to go with Nuerdanbieke to win. I think he'll be able to be safe in the first round. Maybe he's the one that gets the takedown first and stays on top. Minner is better when he gets the takedowns, when he's on top for submissions. When he's off his back, he's kind of, I don't want to say he accepts being on the back, but it's hard for him to get back up. So if Nuerdanbieke can get that early takedown and stay safe in the first, I think he should be able to win rounds 2 and 3, or maybe even get a late finish, maybe like a late ground and pound finish in the third round when Minner gasses a bit. So with my pick, though, I'm going to go with Nuerdanbieke to win. And I'm going to say he does get that late finish. I'm going to say he gets maybe like a ground and pound knockout in the third round. Okay, moving on up the card. We have Jailton Almeida versus Maxim Grishin. And Almeida is 17-2, 31 years old, 6'3", with a 79-inch reach. And Grishin is 32, 9-2, 38 years old, 6'3", with a 76-inch reach. So Almeida is a monster. We all know that. He's super strong. He's got good power in his hands. He's got solid striking, amazing wrestling and takedowns, and very good grappling and submissions. He does not mess around. He gets you out of there in the first round if you are not good. And we've seen him fight some not so good fighters. Turkalal, Parker Porter, Marquez. I mean, these aren't the greatest fighters, but he's making them look very, very bad. And he's not messing around. Grishin is a very solid striker. He's got a pretty decent ground game if he gets taken down. He's usually not the one shooting for takedowns, but if he does get taken down, he's pretty solid down there, at least works himself back up to on his feet. But he doesn't have the greatest takedown defense, so that worries me for him. And no shocker here, I'm going with Almeida. I think he's going to do exactly the same as he's been doing. Grishin is very solid, is an experienced veteran. He's not going to look, at least I don't think he's going to look like the last three guys that quick. But honestly, it wouldn't shock me. Like, Almeida is a different kind of animal on the mat, and I don't know if Grishin's ever fought somebody that great on the mat. And I think Almeida is going to shoot in for the takedown early and work his grappling and eventually get a submission, let's be honest. Or maybe ground and pound knockout, one of the two, but I don't really see it going any other way. If Grishin can survive the first round, it'll be maybe Almeida's cardio tends to fade a bit, but I gotta assume there's going to be a first round submission or ground and pound here. So, well, with my pick, I'm going to go with Almeida, and I think he's going to win by first round submission. Next fight, we got Mark Madsen versus Grant Dawson. Madsen is 12-0, 38 years old, 5'8" with a 72-inch reach. Grant Dawson is 18-1-1, 28 years old, 5'10" with a 72-inch reach. So this fight was supposed to happen, I think, last week, and Dawson was taking this fight on short notice, but they moved it to this week, and I'm not sure if maybe they wanted another fight for this week, or if Dawson told them that he can't do it and he'll do it this week instead. I don't know, but I think this was supposed to be on last week's card. But Madsen's a very good wrestler. His striking is mediocre, but it is improving as in every fight. And his cardio does tend to fade. I don't think in his last fight, he did go all 3 rounds and he looked pretty decent, but I don't think he used a lot of his wrestling, and he used mainly his striking. And that kind of worries me a little bit. I don't know if he's gonna if he's fallen in love with his striking, because wrestlers tend to do that, and it's really weird when they do. They just don't want to wrestle anymore. I mean, we saw that with Chase Hooper, who's an amazing grappler, and then all of a sudden he thought he was Max Holloway, and they got rocked. So we'll see what happens. I mean, Madsen's a very solid guy. Dawson, I think he's going to have the better striking. He has taken this fight on short notice, but it's about 2 weeks short notice. He's very well rounded, good wrestling and good grappling with solid submission. So he's very well rounded. And both guys don't have the best takedown defense, so it'll be interesting to see again who's going to shoot first for a takedown, or will this fight play out on the feet. But I like Dawson here. I think he's just going to have the advantage on the feet if it stays there. On the mat, I think he's going to have the better BJJ and submissions if he gets taken down off his back. And if he does use his wrestling, I think he'll be able to take down Madsen. So I just think there's more path to victory for Dawson here. Both guys are pretty tough. I don't see a submission or a knockout here, but I'm going to go with Dawson, and I think it's going to go to decision. So give me Dawson by decision here. All right. Next card, we have Tagir Ulanbekov versus Nate Maness. Tagir is 13-2, 31 years old, 5'7" with a 70-inch reach. And Maness is 14-2, 31 years old, 5'10" with a 72-inch reach. So this is an interesting fight. So Tagir is definitely wrestler first. He has good takedowns. He does have some trouble keeping his opponents on the mat, which is a little concerning for wrestlers. He's got okay striking. He uses his striking to set up his wrestling a lot. But yeah, make no mistake about it, though. He definitely wants to get the fight to the mat. And Maness is a pretty well-rounded fighter, actually. He's got good striking, good grappling. He is moving down to flyweight for this fight, so that's a little red flag, and it's something to watch for at the weigh-ins here. But I think this fight's closer than the line says, and maybe they're taking into account that Maness is going down a weight class. But I'm not that impressed with Tagir, I'll be honest. If he had a little bit better top control, I would maybe pick him here. But like I said, the little red flag with Maness is he's moving down. I don't know what he's going to look like on the scales, even if he's going to make weight or not. So let's say he does make weight and he looks good on the scales. That's only I'm just going to assume that. I like Maness here. I'm going to give him a shot and roll the dice. I just like him. His striking is going to be better. I think he'll be, if he does get taken down, I think he'll be able to use his BJJ and work his way back up, because Tagir, he doesn't have good top control for some reason. He just didn't do that well against Tim Elliott, and I think Maness would look very good against Tim Elliott here. So also too, Maness did just fight Umar Nurmagomedov, and he survived all 3 rounds. I mean, he was on his back for the majority of it, but he survived. And Tagir's no Umar, not even close. So I'm going to roll a dice. I'm going to say Maness wins this one, and I'm going to say he wins this one by decision. But like I said, I'm not going to bet this fight for him as an underdog. I'm just going with my gut feeling here. And if you guys are looking to bet him, I would make sure you wait until you see him on the scales, because who knows what he's going to look like dropping down to 125. And we finally made it here to the people's main event, Josh Parisian versus Chase Sherman. Parisian is 15-5, 33 years old, 6'4", with a 79-inch reach, and Chase Sherman is 16-10, 32 years old, 6'4", with a 78-inch reach. So yeah, this is going to be one of those fights where you just don't know who's going to win, and there's paths to victory for both of these guys, and who is going to have the fight IQ to do it. So Parisian is a okay striker. He's got okay wrestling, good power. Cardio and fight IQ is a little questionable, but hey, he got the win against Alan Boudreaux, and he looked like he wasn't going to get the win because I think he got rocked in the first round, and he looked like he was a little dicey and ended up using his wrestling and got it done. And that's what he should have done in the beginning. And what do you know? This is a good fight to do that again. But Sherman's is also very questionable IQ. He's got 0 ground game, like maybe even negative ground game. He's basically just going to be a boxer. He's going to just stand there as a punching bag, and he's going to throw punches at you. He's very hittable. And I was shocked that he actually beat Vandera, but we just went over Vandera and why he lost. He has 0 fight IQ. He didn't even go for takedowns. But I think Josh has a little bit of fight IQ. He'll shoot for the takedowns, and once he gets that one takedown, he's going to win the fight. That's all he needs to do. He'll be able to stay on top of him, ground and pound him, and Sherman's just going to either, curl up, and the ref's going to stop the fight here. So give me Parisian. I'm going to look at the under and see what that's at. I'm not going to bet one side or the other. It's pretty much a pick 'em, but like I said, there's more path to victory for Josh to win here. And but it wouldn't shock me if he just doesn't do what he needs to do and he loses and Sherman wins again. So it's one of those weird fights that it's really hard to bet on, but the under might be the way to go. We'll see what that comes out as. All right, co-main event, we have Neil Magny versus Daniel Rodriguez. Magny is 26-9, 35 years old, 6'3", with an 80-inch reach. And Rodriguez is 17-2, 35 years old, 6'1", with a 74-inch reach. So Magny is a very well-rounded fighter. He's a good striker. Has very good grappling. Not much of a finisher, but if this fight does go to the mat, though, he does have some pretty good submissions as well. But he's more of a decision machine, if you want to say. I know he lost to Shavkat in his last fight, but I mean, a lot of people are going to lose to Shavkat, let's be honest. But he usually gets this fight to the decision, whether he wins or not. D-Rod is also a very good striker. He's very technical, has very good boxing, solid takedown defense. He wants to keep the fight on the feet. He's not going to really go for takedowns that much. I think for Magny here, D-Rod might have the slight striking advantage, more technical, but Magny's more well-rounded. And he's going to have the height advantage as well. I think 2 inches of height and 6 inches of reach. So that's going to help him out, definitely staying at range. But this is a tough fight because I really want to pick D-Rod, but he's got some red flags for me. In his last fight against Lee, I thought Lee won that fight, but he ended up getting the win. He didn't look that great. But then again, Magny hasn't looked that great either. I mean, I'm going to give him a pass against Shavkat, but he arguably lost against Max Griffin. And I know I just rewatched that fight for last week just to see Max Griffin's research. And I don't know. I thought maybe Griffin won that fight too. So these guys haven't looked the greatest in the last few fights, but man, I'm still going back and forth right now. I'm going to glean ever so slightly D-Rod here. I wanted to pick him first. My gut said D-Rod. I think this fight's going to be very close. If Magny doesn't try to mix in takedowns and get this fight to the mat, it's going to be razor close. And I would ever so slightly lean D-Rod. But if Magny can get those takedowns, Magny should win this one pretty easily. And but I'm going to say D-Rod stuffs those takedowns. He has pretty good takedown defense, like I said. Magny's not the greatest of wrestlers, but he does have solid wrestling. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going to go with D-Rod. I think this fight goes to decision one way or another, whoever wins. But I'm going to say D-Rod wins by decision, probably a very close split decision because both these guys like to go to split decision. So more of a gut pick, but I don't blame you for picking Magny whatsoever. And the main event, which is Marina Rodriguez versus Amanda Lemos. Rodriguez is 16-1-2, 35 years old, 5'6" with a 65-inch reach. And Lemos is 12-2-1, 35 years old, 5'4" with a 65-inch reach. So Rodriguez is a very good technical striker. She's got very good counters. She got very good low kicks and body kicks, solid takedown defense, good submission defense if she's taken down, keeps her range very well, good knees in the clinch. Like, she's pretty much a very good striker, if you want to say. Lemos is a very powerful striker, different kind of striker, but she's a striker first. She can be wild at times if she's trying to go for the knockout later in the fight. Her technical striking tends to go down as the fight goes on, but she's very dangerous early. She does have good grappling if it gets to the mat. Decent submissions as well, but she's striker first. I don't think she's going to be going for takedowns very often unless she gets rocked or she's in trouble. But for me, I'm going to go with Rodriguez here. This is a 5-round fight. Rodriguez has very good cardio. She's been in a few 5-round fights and went the distance and in all of those fights. And Lemos has a track record of kind of slowing down after the second round. And I don't know how she's going to be able to, I don't know how she's going to look in the 4th and 5th round if it gets there. And if so, I mean, Rodriguez, that's 2 rounds that she's probably going to win. So yeah, give me Rodriguez here. I think Lemos is live for a early finish, but Rodriguez is tough. Very good submission defense, like I said. I think she'll be able to weather the storm early and then pretty much take over the fight as the fight goes on and win by maybe 48-47 decision or 49-46, something like that. But for my bets so far, I don't have too many. I'm waiting for the overs and unders and the props to come out to bet this one or bet this card. But the only bet I have right now is a 3-fighter parlay, and it is with Almeida, Miranda Maverick, and Bautista, and I bet 2.1 units on that, and I got that line at -103. I really like all 3 of those fighters. I just decided to put all 3 of them in a parlay and just pretty much throw double what I usually do on that. I don't know if I'm going to have too many bets this fight card. I'm kind of a little bit scared of what happened last card to happen again in this card because I can see a lot of sketchy things going on this card as well. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to have more bets as the week goes on, I'll be honest. So definitely check that out. I'll be posted on my Instagram and Twitter as well, and in the comment section on this video too. So, but that's about it. Thank you everybody for watching. And like I said, be sure to check back on this video in the comment section or Instagram or Twitter for any added bets. And I hope everybody enjoys the fights this weekend. Please like and subscribe if you haven't yet. And until next time, happy fighting.